I've realized I don't have as good as an obvious stopping point with our new
there's
music.
nothing for me to do this to.
Yeah, I gotta find. I need a new cue. As all the fans will know, we had a very nice cue with our other show, which
A
doesn't matter because
well-oiled machine, if you will.
well-oiled machine. Yes, we had good production quality with our legion of producers that obviously help us make the show. But
we had to
alas,
hire a whole new team for this one because basketball production and baking production did not overlap.
they do not overlap, and we're breaking them in here with our season. Episode 2, Tuesdays with Mary. This week without Mary P.
Also on Wednesday, so the name is useless.
Thank you for reiterating our failure for the week. We are one day late, but so no Mary P this week, but Mary B, always with us in spirit, as she will always be. Big week, biscuit week. Some movers and shakers this week. And Maxy came out of the gate with a big week, 12 points, knocking everybody out of the park that picked her. And we had to say goodbye to Maya Sam. I was a little surprised with that selection. I thought Rebs for sure was gone.
You can't boot the technical winner.
Yeah, that's true. She by the skin of her teeth, she got that one.
Just a hater. Just a hater.
Just because
a Rebs hater.
Yes, that's correct. Just because you selected her and you're hoping for the best.
No, I didn't select her. She was my last one out.
Last one out.
Like, if I had one more selection, she would have been my final selection.
Gotcha. That's fair. But I don't think she'll be there very long. Because her and Carol both squeaked by, and I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see next week if they recover. But also this week, handshakes. The handshakes are out. We got our first 2 of the season. How do you feel about the handshakes? Deserved? You like a handshake, or how you feel about that?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of anything Hollywood. I think he's dumb, and I do appreciate that they've leaned into his Game of Thronesy White Walker-ness in this season. It's been mentioned like 3 times already, and I say that every single year, and I'm really glad to hear that that's becoming a more common part of it. Both the ones he handshook definitely deserve the shake, but what is the handshake really worth these days? Let's be honest. It seems like, and I think we can back this up with some numbers, that he's throwing them things around a little bit.
2 points here. First, you guys said, what is a handshake worth? And I can tell you explicitly, it's worth 3 points. So
I was talking more existentially, but what is a handshake worth when you shake everyone's hand? It means nothing.
It is true. So we did run the numbers here. For the fans
through our algorithm,
through the algorithm,
our proprietary algorithm,
which is compiling them in a spreadsheet. 49 handshakes have been doled out in the history of Bake Off, and so a key inflection point, though. Anybody who's watched the show will know that in the BBC years, so in the early seasons, there's only 11 over 7 seasons. And since the
none in the first 2 seasons, too.
None in the first 2 seasons. Yet. It was not a thing. I think this definitely brewed, and I believe. And since the move, 38 in the preceding 6 seasons. So the average has gone up substantially. Clearly, some production
network execs were like, "We need more handshakes. The people demand it."
That is exactly what we got. We got more handshakes and more booze. That is the 2 things we got in the move.
Salacious. Those crazy Brits.
Also, the top handshake season was season 9. There's 12. 12. So we had 2 today. I think you did some counting on multi-shake episodes.
This is the 11th multi-shake episode in the history of the series, over a total of 129 episodes. So like 10% ish get you, a little under that, 8% ish. You see a multi-handshake.
What I find interesting about that is like 11 multi-handshakes, which means like at least 22, and I think many of them were like triple handshakes. So almost 50% of the handshakes were given in multi handshake episodes. Very interesting. They kind of come in
Clearly,
waves.
like he was in a good mood that day.
We need some deep recon on what was Paul Hollywood's state of being the days of the multi handshake
Yeah. We
episodes.
need the behind the scenes reporting.
Yes.
There's all kinds of things. What will tip his hand? Is he dressed a certain way when he gives more
Ooh.
handshakes? Like, is his shirt more loud or is it more subdued? He seems like the kind of guy who would tip his hand a little bit about how he's feeling. He's a showman. His stage name is Hollywood, for God's sakes.
I think
What's
we can
his
do
real name?
I think we can do. I think that is his real name.
How?
I seriously think it is. I don't know this for a fact because obviously
No,
can't.
it is.
It
Paul
is.
John Hollywood.
There you go. I mean Hollywood, right? Like
Yeah, I mean
Holly
that's a
is.
real name.
Yeah, it's like a tree and in the woods. It's fine.
So
I said
disappointing. I really wish his name was like Paul Paulson or
Paul
something.
Falls. Yes, very very Scandinavian in
And when
actual fact.
he made his turn to stardom, he renamed himself Hollywood.
So we
Always
do.
up to no good.
You do have the source material for I expect a deep dive report next week on any tells shirt
Yes,
color. So you come back to us next week
we'll pay
with
attention. We'll have a Hollywood report.
yes, please.
I would like to note that all of these numbers were retrieved from HollywoodHandshakes.com. Just want to give proper attribution. You know how important that is to me, and much respect to that, which is just literally a website with pictures of handshakes that he's given over the years. It's hilarious.
I love the deep content well that exists behind Bake Off. Never stop out there.
Yeah, gives us a lot to pull from too.
Exactly.
We can just be lazy.
So good week for the handshakes. Interestingly related. So Max got a handshake, Don got a handshake. Whoop, whoop. Don, my captain. Nobody picked Maxy as a captain though. So big point score. Nobody picked Maxy as a captain. The two.
How many people had Maxy on their team? Do you know?
Somebody just put that on. I think she was a mid-tier pick. Ooh, no, 22. So under half. So she definitely, if she continues to perform at a high level.
Is she on your team?
She is not. She was
on my team.
She was my 7th. I was torn between her, James, and Kevin. I went with James, who turned out to be not a bad pick this week.
He had a decent week.
Yeah, and because I felt like he's got that mad scientist vibe, and he kind of did poorly the first week, which hurt me, and then
he's got it for better and for worse. So like he'll to go back to our basketball thing, he's going to shoot himself out of some games, but yes, he also is going to do some crazy stuff that people are going to love.
Agree. Maxy, I think the first week, there's a little lack of confidence, and like even this week, like she didn't even call anybody. Did you notice that at the end of the episode? There was no phone call for Star Baker.
I did not notice that.
There's like this weird chill vibe. Yeah. So no phone call. I feel like that's negative points. You got to call the fam.
Oh.
So it's very interesting. We picked up on that at our household. So yeah, I think she has a very understated vibe, which I incorrectly may have attributed to maybe not in it to win it. Yes. That could be a bad take.
As someone who himself has been accused of an understated vibe, these are my people. So
these are my people. Good selection.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Sandro and Sabiro were the top 2 captain picks.
Sandro was mine.
Neither of which had a good week. A couple points both.
They were fine.
They were but just definitely not a good captain selection. Didn't get you much. Dawn was the next best pick. She was the best pick. Yeah, Team Boris. She had a good week. And a few folks picked Januz, who interestingly scored all his points this week by helping other bakers.
He did that a lot in the first week too. He's very generous. So clearly he handles his time well too, because he has time at the end.
Yeah, he might end up being my autopilot captain pick going forward very quickly
He might
because like
also maybe want to spend a little more time on his own thing though, if he's not winning, but like he's helping other people, he probably should, look out for number one.
put your mask on first, then everybody else's.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
um yeah, and so some more numbers. So if you have Maxy in your news, you're sitting pretty here. In general, you'd have 32 points just for two folks. So that's definitely the common scoring point for everybody that's up top. And then conversely, the bottom two, if you have Abdul and Mayasam, you'd be at -5 for two folks. So a pretty huge gap between the top and the bottom two folks. I have Abdul. He's making me mad because he's clearly a solid baker, but he's sitting at -3. It's really annoying. Hopefully he turns that around.
Yeah, he was one of your archetypal champs.
He was. And he's just doing dumb things. Like he didn't turn the oven on. And he did some other stuff like
that's a big no-no. You definitely need to turn the oven on if you're trying to bake something. I don't know much about baking, but I do know that heat is important.
Yes, it's true. And he also he got dinged this week for having the same idea as other folks. So he's just got a lot of negatives, which is dumb and makes me annoyed. He also never heard a technical challenge. So he's like killing me.
You can't just cut him like in basketball and
be gone.
Banish him to the waiver wire.
He'd be gone.
Yep. And then he'd win 3 weeks in a row after you cut him.
Yeah.
That's how you love to cut bait too soon.
I said it. He has some Chigs vibes, so that means he's going to be good at the back half of the season. So I'm gonna stay in there till the end
by force because you have to. This is not some sort of brilliant management decision. This is how it works. You pick your people and you watch.
I have to stick to my guns because that's all I have.
We need trades. I want trades.
Well, how would that work? Wait, explain. You've said it. Now you have to come up with a method.
Well, what if like, let's say we're down the line, right? And you don't have, let's say you really like Maxy and don't have her. And then you have like, let's say, I don't know, Kevin and Rebs or whatever. And it's like, we look at the point values and like, I'll trade you Kevin and Rebs for Maxy. And now I have an extra person, which is good for me. And you have a higher point score. I don't know. There's something here. I think we should, next time Mary's on, we should talk about this.
The other thing I want to talk about next time with the commish is, I find it interesting. I didn't look through past season scoring, but I find it interesting that like because there's negative point capabilities, losing out on some folks like might not always be terrible because you can
cost you points.
Yeah, because if the folks you have picked still just end up being like negative point generators, it's like worse than actually having people kicked off the show, which is very interesting to me. So like there's no like direct penalty. So you're losing upside, but there's no other penalty to losing. Yeah, also downside.
You may not score more points, but you may not lose more points.
Yeah, so there's an interesting aspect there that I'm curious to see how it fleshes out for the season. What was I gonna show?
No. Your level of analysis of this fantasy baking league is incredible, and I'm going to change my background to something that fits it. There it is.
Wow. The fans at home obviously know this was going to happen. I'm not even showing the spreadsheets. I have obviously, to not ruin the commission's work, I have obviously downloaded all the data to my own spreadsheets, which will be fully formed next week, which will show the fans.
Also, a magician never reveals the secrets. Am I right?
I mean, I do on the back. I mean, yes, they do. I feel like
open source magician.
Yeah, I'm open source.
Be a great team name, open source magician.
There you go. I would open source my ludicrous Yahoo fantasy sheets. So like, might as well be fair that I would do that for here. We'll see. Leave a comment if you want to open source our data spreadsheets.
5-star review.
Like and subscribe. uh what was the other thing I had?
Technical.
Well,
we have no technical this week.
All right, before we get there, because that's going to be a whole deal. Last thing I'll say. So the top,
because I'm salty, but
are you salty about technical?
Yes.
The thing we haven't mentioned, so the top teams leading right now. So there's a clear
Not
tier.
us.
Not us. This is true. So
I'm doing all right. I'm like 15.
I'm happy with my picks. It actually comes down to like literally Abdul like being a drag on my team. Everybody else is actually doing fine. So Flower Power, the Claggy Cake Bakers, and Overwork and Underproved, all top 3, all with the same 6 people. Interestingly enough, it comes down to just captain pick is the only discriminator. So
right captain.
Yeah. So Carol, Dawn, Yanuz, Maxy, Sandro, and Sabira are the common 6 for the top 3 teams. And I think the difference.
So I have 5 of those. I just have Kevin instead of Don. That's my only difference.
Yeah, and after that it gets a little more mixed and interesting, and like definitely different combinations. Because that they're on 57 and 55 points, so that's a pretty big score.
I think I've got like 46 or 43 or something like that.
Yep, you're on 46, and I'm down in the middle. No, I'm even farther than the middle. I'm not. I have 40 something. Where am I?
Mid.
I have 42, so 42 and a half. I'm happy with that. I think I'm
down by more. I can't let you win this. I just can't.
I'm confident in my long haul capability. I'm in it for the long haul.
You built the playoffs over here.
I am dubious. So with those top 3 folks all having Carol, I don't think she's gonna last long. Maybe she'll pull out a good week. I think
You've been very anti-Carol this whole time.
I don't know.
You can justify your bojo mojo, and you're just hating. So much hating.
She just not as good. Like she made some mistakes. Like her mask fell apart on the rack. She used lard. Hasn't made it
used lard.
All right, that's enough. Yeah. We're gonna move on. Nope. We will share some more fun stuff next week in the stats. We'll have another week of trends. I think we'll get some more interesting variations here next week. Another week of captains. Have more for the fans. So yes. All right. So as folks who watched last week know, we had committed to doing the technical challenges each week.
And you made it a grand total of 1 week. Well done, both of you.
Man, those were good cakes, though.
They were very good.
I still have a quarter of the cake in my refrigerator still.
I ate like half of it, and then it was like, I can't eat this anymore.
It's so much cake.
Too much cake. It's so, like, the slices are so huge, too.
Yes, they are.
Like, you cut them like this thin, and it's still like a gigantic piece of cake.
It's too much. However, life got in the way on both sides of the equation, and then also, who wants to make Girabldi biscuits?
Nobody wants to make those. Like I had never heard of them before this, but they looked like trash cookies. Like
they were trash cookies. They didn't even look like, and they looked terrible to make. They looked annoying, as evidenced by how everybody made them terrible on the show. like they're definitely uninteresting, and so I'm not mad that we did not make them, because I would have been mad making them, let alone not having the time.
Although I would have liked to have seen a video clip of you being mad making them. Eat this cookie.
I do have to say, like, the dough, I'm comfortable with the dough concept, so I feel like that would have been fine. I would have been okay with that. I would have been scared to like have that much dried currant in the house with all of our cats, because I'm sure a cat would have tried to eat them.
Cat interference, never good.
Which would have been bad, because they're viciously poisonous to cats. Good thing for all those bakers out there to know: do not feed your cats grapes or currants, if you didn't know that, because currants are just grapes. Idea. They it's crazy. It's like a deeply toxic substance that just like they cannot process, and just shuts down their kidneys, like in almost nearly any quantity. Like wow. one currant or grape is enough to like basically wreck your cat.
Mine means
Dogs too.
never
No good
feed
for
a
dogs.
cat a grape, I guess.
Yes, do not do that.
I've learned something today.
Facts. We're just full of facts and data. Handshakes, cat toxicity. Like you're getting the full experience watching, listening to this podcast.
Man, I don't know. I feel good about these things, but then we talk about stuff like this, and I'm like, what's wrong with us? What are we doing? How did we get from handshake stats to cat toxicity? Like, how do you do that in 10 minutes?
The magic of this wonderful show and these productions. That's how this. It's just it just bundles entertainment. We will be back next week. I believe next week's bread week and much less crazy. So we definitely will be back on the technical next week.
Bread week is definitely, I think, probably my favorite. I know nothing of making bread, but I'm really good at eating bread. Like, it's definitely one of my best skills. I eat bread like a champ. And I know enough from watching my lovely wife Megan make mountains of bread over the years. What is good is what is bad. It's like the only week where I actually could like know anything about what's happening and understand, like in real time, someone doing something and being like, "Oh, that's a mistake." This is the only week where that will be true.
Interesting. We'll have to, so you'll have to share your feelings then, because as you said, star of the series, that'd be my expertise. And we didn't even get into actually everybody did good this week on Biscuit Week. Most folks were good, minus Rebs. And
she won. Oh my gosh, such a hater.
100% a hater.
She won the stupid, terrible technical. I don't know. You gotta put some respect on her name. Respect the Rebs, my friend.
I mean, we'll see.
It's probably just sexism, really.
I'm like totally team Don, and you're calling me out for sexism. Whatever, man.
That's right.
I feel like is that where we have to leave it? Just the empty call out of sexism, or do we have, or can we bring it back to something more positive?
I guess. Do you have any predictions for next week? Who do you think is going to be strong? Who do you think is going to struggle?
Good.
I don't really know how. You are a veteran baker. How does is it kind of a overlapping skill set from a bread to something like a cake or a cookie, or are those like disparate skill sets where like the people who crushed it in cake week are going to struggle here, or vice versa?
Great question.
They are.
I would say they are not overlapping skill sets. So like, especially depending on the type of bread bakes that are on the table, which we obviously don't know yet, they could be wildly different. And so certainly bread is a much more, you need to know your proofing and you need to know your feels a lot more, especially against biscuits. Like biscuits and bread are probably very, very far apart in terms of expectations. So like, I would say, I would not be surprised if Sandro bounces back. I feel like he's going to be a good bread baker. He probably does it a lot at home.
Yeah, based on his background of crazy workouts, that he like loves carbs.
Yeah.
So like, there's no world in which he doesn't love bread.
I think
like the Rock of this show. Like he has his like cheat day where he eats like the stack of 450 pancakes and then like 1,000 other things.
Exactly. Also, bread's one of those things where if you don't do it, like I think that's a common thing with Bake Off. Like there are folks who just don't make bread. So I think there's definitely going to be a couple of those folks. I'm curious about Maxy. It's hard to tell. I think she might be a not bread baker. I have no basis.
Underestimating her yet again.
I have no basis for that. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. No, it's hard to tell. But I also would throw like James and Abdul in that. I don't know about their bread bakers. They seem more like the pastry people. And then I could definitely see if Carol is going to be good. If she's not good at bread week, she's good at nothing. So like, she better be good at bread week, or she's good at nothing. She did okay the first week. She did okay. I'm not gonna say she did well. And then I'm actually wondering about Dawn. I think Dawn might be shaky. We'll see. Because she seems good at the pastry, so it seems like maybe that's her more what she bakes, and the cakes. So she might not be good at the bread. I think Yanu's will probably be good because he's good at everything, and maybe I'll be surprised. So There might be somewhere where like Kevin turns out to be like, I bake bread every day, like it's gonna be one of those
like
situations.
A bread guy. He does
Seems
seem
like a bread
guy when he's not defeating zombies or being a rogue cop. He is eating bread.
So my
like Simon Pegg.
My dark horse is gonna be Kevin. I have this vibe that he might be the secret bread maestro.
I picked him as my captain last week. Should I do it again?
I don't know if I do that because I don't know if he's gonna like. That's like I feel like still like a 50-50. At this point, yeah, I'm gonna be picking probably the news as a safe. Like he's gonna get you 5, 7
So
to
I
10
believe
points every week.
Since we've done this, we've already picked our captain.
I can't remember who I picked.
Me neither. Wait, I did pick Kevin. We talked about it.
I think I picked
a bunch
Sabira.
of Simon Pegg gifs.
I think I picked Sabira. I'm hoping. My feeling on her this week is I don't know if she's going to be a strong bread baker, but I feel like if it's a flavor-based bread situation, if they do something wacky, I think she'll be strong. I
was going to say she seems good for bread. Like she'll flavor and spice things really well. And that's important for bread because bread tastes like nothing if you don't do that.
Yes, that was my feeling exactly. So that I'm hoping that turns out to be right, but I think bread week we'll see the level out here as you do through the first couple weeks of where everybody's skill set is. Exactly. So what about you? Who's your pick or bad pick?
I mean, Dawn is obviously going to get eliminated this week.
Only right and just.
Yes, only that's all that can ever happen. No, for real. I like Sean. How do you say the Polish guy's name again?
Janusz.
I like him this week. He just seems highly fundamentally skilled. So like, if he'll probably bake it correctly and, let it sit for the right amount of time and do all those little things right that you need to do. I could see your boy Abdul doing like some kind of wacky bread that comes on well because he is maybe in a little bit of desperation mode.
Gotta go big.
Yeah, go big or go home, literally. So I could see him doing well. I don't know. It's still early. Like it's really hard to tell. Like
exactly
because people who are clearly good bakers have messed up occasionally. Like there's some on there who it's like, okay, you're not quite on the level of everybody else, but nobody has like crushed everything.
Yeah,
everyone struggled on something and everyone's done well on something. Even the ones who have been towards like the back of the pack have succeeded in some parts. So it's gonna be still, who knows.
Almost like
how many handshakes?
Ooh,
over under 0.5 handshakes.
Oh, good man, that's a good line. I honestly, in general, I'm not feeling this gang for bread. I don't know why, but in general.
And I'm sure there was, social fervor about the number of handshakes. So he's going to be told by the network to dial it back a little bit here, Paul. Just
scandalous.
Keep the hands to yourself for a week, okay?
Yeah, I for whatever reason, I don't have a good explanation. I'm a little tenuous on this group's bread qualities. I don't know why. Just doesn't maybe seem like this group forte. I'm gonna go under. I think maybe there'll be some hard bread challenge, but I'm hoping to be surprised. That's what I'll say.
Okay, over under soggy bottoms.
You can't have a soggy bottom on bread.
You can't? I thought that was where the soggy bottom came in when they knock on it and stuff.
Pastry.
Okay, pastry.
Soggy bottoms.
I don't know anything about baking. I don't know why I'm doing this show. I know nothing about baking.
Yeah, because for this exact reason. Yes. Pastry, you have a soggy bottom on the pastry. Bread, you have you can be undercooked, underbaked.
Yeah.
And soft.
The little bumpies in the middle.
Yeah. Good structure. Good structure. Yeah. But if it's a soggy bread bottom, you got problems. you have put out something that has gone extremely wrong. I think we have to leave it there. I think we have to leave it on the soggy bread bottom, because there's really nowhere to recover from there.
Yep. And then this, if this is our last episode and the network cuts us off, we love you very much. Thank you for listening.
Until next week, which we will be back. Have
We'll
a good
see.
week. Goodbye.